Howdy y'all, Jackson here with Thick Jerk Studios, and welcome to another episode of Just Some Rambling. I apologize for as this goes on, there'll be pauses and lots of stuttering and whatnot, because this is just kind of a free-form talking to myself about topics, just running down little notes I wrote to myself about the topic as I'm going over it, so there'll be pauses and stuff. Anyways, on a lighter note, the football videos will be back this week. I apologize about being away. Life has just been busy. I'm working overnights at my job right now, so I pretty much spend my entire time at home sleeping. Anyway, so college football playoff video will be Wednesday. I'll have a football history video on Friday, and I'm looking back to get into the swing of things on uploading consistently. Topics and time codes are on the screen, so if you see a topic you're not interested in, or one you're most interested in, you know where to skip. Things will start off with current events, then it will get into a video game reveal I want to talk about, and then sports to close. So let's just hop into things with the first topic. The first topic I really want to get into is the Vox Adpocalypse. Things all come down to Carlos Maza of Vox Media, known by his Twitter handle of Gay Wonk, and Steven Crowder of Louder with Crowder. Just as a future point of note, I will be talking about Steven Crowder later in this video with some problems I'm having with him as of recently, but I'll get into that in the next part. Anyways, this whole problem arises with Steven Crowder's rebuttal series, which he has in the past has done strike-through videos from Vox, which is Carlos Maza's series. Dating back at least 2 years, I found a video from 2 years ago of strike-through video he did, and the videos aren't exclusively of Carlos Maza. But anyways, Carlos Maza pretty much hypercutted the 6 or 7 videos Crowder has responded to with just all the alleged homophobic and racial slurs he used throughout it for his jokes, which is something you should keep in mind when talking about Crowder, is that he's not really a straight political commentator. He's more of a comedic political commentator. He'd be more akin to, Stephen Colbert than, I guess. He'd be more akin to Stephen Colbert than Bret Baier, I guess, would be how you would put it, when it comes to going over the news. Anyways, the funny thing is that really the worst thing he uses in the video is gay and Latino is mostly the most used homophobic and racial slurs, which aren't really even remotely bad. I guess the problem he had with them is that he does it too much, or I don't know. Anyway, the funny thing is that Maza had actually commented on this before in a joking manner, but now he chooses to come out saying it's hurtful or harmful or whatever, which is honestly perfect timing, obviously, because he's using this as an excuse to say that YouTube is against LGBT creators in Gay Pride Month, which was probably his whole plan before this, was to just try to get Crowder taken off the platform. Anyways, also the funny thing is that the video rebuttal, that last one that led into this, was Maza's video on how Fox News controls the media, which was hilariously stupid considering what's happening right now. Anyway, YouTube originally responded saying the videos didn't violate terms of service and Crowder wasn't going to be punished. Then Maza just came out moaning and griping and bringing a hate mob, which led to YouTube to retract that and demonetize Crowder for no specific reason, just saying a wider view, like no individual video violates YouTube guidelines, but the broad picture of it does, which is very inconsistent. But anyways, with that, the Adpocalypse 2 pretty much started. And the worst thing about this is pretty much that Maza is still not happy. He's still complaining. And now Crowder and the right is all complaining about it now too, because pretty much a whole bunch of dominoes fell with this. The New York Times and CNET have also kind of piled on with the New York Times article that even roped in Philip DeFranco, who's just like milquetoast fence sitter, as a right-wing commentator, or alleged apparently, because he's in the pictures. He's not mentioned in the article, but he's pictured fairly prominently in the intro thing for the article, the intro picture. CNET was going after YouTube gamers because they occasionally get angry, which is just stupid. Anyways, with this, the left is unhappy. Carlos Maza wants everybody taken away because they're mean or whatever. Right's angry because they're getting censored, pretty much. Anyways, this more demonetization. The worst thing about this is that even like educational and real journalist channels are getting taken away. Or not, well, they're getting taken away. Some are getting, videos are getting removed. People are losing monetization, which sucks because, people rely on, rely on the YouTube ad revenue because it's their job now. But they're getting strikes, they're getting stuff removed, which just sucks. Anyways, just get into the next topic, which will be more about Steven Crowder in particular, about the the grievances I have with him right now, I guess. Now, onto my specific grievances with Steven Crowder. If you watch his show, you would have noticed over the last few months their change in staff recently. Obviously, originally the departure of Sven Computer and the cryptic SCIAL DPHE cryptic message he left in his final episode, and then you had the following by the departures of Not Gay Jared, Sound Guy Edward, and Intern Aaron, all of which came pretty much back to back to back. I believe they all left pretty much at the same time. You also had the Blaze TV takeover of CRTV. I'm not sure how much that actually plays into anything. With that, you led into specifically where a bunch of this stuff is coming from, which is Owen Benjamin, who was a collaborator with Steven, at least for fairly recently. They originally distanced themselves after the takeover by Blaze TV. I don't know if that was specific leading up to it or his occasionally conspiracy theory rants that he goes off into. But then they completely severed ties with him, which was not, whatever. But then you get into Owen's streams and accusations that have come out recently over pay disputes, and I'm not going to get the other stuff, the gay stuff, which I'm not really concerned with. I don't care about that stuff at all. But that gets into the original belief of the cryptic message that Sven Computer put out in his final episode of the SCIAL DPHE for Steven Crowder is a liar and does not pay his employees. But so anyways, after Owen's stream about it, Owen's Twitter account, which I believe he does not run, is ran by somebody else, tweeted out a little bear emoticon, which both, I believe, well, at least Jared liked. I'm pretty sure Sven Computer liked. Sven tweeted out a bear as well afterwards, which is fairly telling of the situation. Another interesting point that makes me also credible to the fallout between everybody and the possibility that Crowder is not a very good boss, that Jared, Sven, and Aaron, of the 3 out of the 4 people who left the show, no longer follow Crowder on Twitter, despite the fact they're active on Twitter and Instagram, especially Jared. You don't see them together at all. You've seen Sven and Jared together. They had pictures after the departure. Specifically with that as well, when Crowder was saying that Sven was back in Germany, despite the fact there were tweets and pictures of Sven still in America. Um, Anyways, you don't see them together, which would be odd. Which is odd considering you'd think they left on good terms for show. At least on the show, they said they were. Um, you don't see them together in any tweets or Instagram posts, despite the fact they're supposed to be good friends. I mean, Jared moved pretty much across the country from Michigan to Texas for the show, but they're not together at all, which is odd. Um, anyway, so that just I know I'm rambling, but that's what the point of this show is, which is why I'm inclined to believe Owen over any of the very little information Crowder's ever given out about everybody's departure, which probably means everybody's under an NDA. So, anyways, let's just get on to the next topic. Yeah. Alright, so the trailer we're looking at is for Blair Witch 2019, which was just revealed at E3. I've already pre-ordered it, despite the fact I'm already sure I'm going to be completely disappointed by it. I'm a huge fan of the series. I own all the movies, obviously. I have almost all the books. I'm missing one of the comic book collections. I even have all those young adult novels. Um, anyways, so yeah, I played part of the old video games that were on the Nocturne engine. For it's just old clunky controls. I enjoyed the story for the most part. It's just tank controls and stuff. Anyways, so let's just get into the trailer, and I will stop when I have things to talk about. Okay, let's start things off with a couple things here. First thing first, that's not the Rustin Parr house, so that's a whole new interesting thing. This is the first time we've seen another building in I guess, never mind. There was another building in the second movie, but continuity thing. This is the first time we've seen like another dilapidated building in the Black Hills Forest. Well, the events are going on. Second thing, first person. So, uh, obviously first person survival. So obviously probably some Resident Evil 7 kind of mix in here. PT and the flashlight here is just giving me Alan Wake vibes. Let's continue rolling for a little bit. Okay, second thing, obviously we actually see something, so this is more akin to Blair Witch 2016 as opposed to their Blair Witch project. Creature is moving fast, so you can't really get a clear stop image at this moment. At least I don't know about later in the trailer because I haven't went frame by frame until now. It looks similar to the thing we saw in the last Blair Witch movie. Whether or not that is the witch itself, which I believe Simon Barrett and what's his name, Adam Wingard said was not the Blair Witch. So this is, despite the fact he was credited as the Blair Witch in the credits, but whatever. So is it the Blair Witch? Is it Ellie Kedward? Are they actually the same thing or not? Lore questions. So we actually see something. So let's see how. Let's just continue moving. Oh shit! So here is a slightly better still of the creature. I'm not necessarily the same creature because we don't know if there's multiple or not. This one's clearer. You can see it kind of sticky and whatnot. So this might actually be a slightly different design than the thing we saw in the movie. But, Anyways, also point of note, this, I believe, is taking place in 1996, which puts it after the first movie, but before the second or third one. Regardless of continuity, it takes place before the second one or the third one. Whether or not you want to count the second one at all. Anyways, let's keep moving as the main character is heading into this building. Okay, here we just had the main character sweep across this broom building, I guess. It appeared to be some sort of workshop. It's obviously dilapidated and overgrown by the forest, but I'm not entirely sure if this is of the era of Rust and Power, which would be the early 1940s, 1941 or so. Um, my contention mostly comes with this little fire alarm kind of thing here, which seems too new, I guess. It seemed like it'd be something that'd be kind of not a priority in the 1940s, I guess. Anyways, let's just keep rolling.
What the?
So here we have the main character bring up a video camera, which is obviously reminiscent of the franchise. Um, we get a dog because obviously when you watch the trailer all the way through, this is you and oops, sorry about that. This is you. This camera thing is never explained on who's filming this, so that's kind of a mystery at the moment. Um, and obviously, there's gonna be some sort of mechanics about where you get flashbacks of previous events, or you know, I guess side events or something. Oh, wishy-washy time. I don't know if so. That's probably just the recording time. I don't think that has anything to do with anything. Anyways, let's just keep going.
Peter Shannon, a 9-year-old boy, went missing on Saturday. This afternoon, the authorities are organizing a search in the Black Hills Forest.
Okay, Bullet. Let's find this kid. Wait up, Bullet! Bullet! Where am I?
Okay, so this is kind of interesting here. So obviously, it seems like I'm assuming your character stumbles there and knocks himself out, and so he's out for a couple of hours, and that's how he gets stuck in the time loop that is the Blair Witch's realm, I guess. So obviously, the story comes with you're looking for a kid who got lost in the woods. Odd that this, throwing stuff in, I guess, seems like it would have been mentioned in the lore before, considering all the Fox documentaries and stuff they have going on. Especially, sorry about that again. Especially the, what are they called? The dossiers. Especially for the first movie. There's real time period you could have skipped to for this if you wanted to stay in the realms of already pre-established lore with missings, because you have the Burkittsville 7, and then you have whatchamacallit, Robin Weaver. She goes missing in the woods, and people go out looking for her and stuff. So this could have been the story of that. I know the other video game already did that. I believe the second one does that. I haven't played the second one. I've only played through the first one. But that'd have been a thing to retell. So we're obviously going into unestablished events here. It seems kind of interesting to get stuck into, because seemingly, I know I'm rambling here in a long section for something that's unimportant here. Seemingly, with all the other events of people getting stuck into the witch's realm, they were doing something to, egg her on, or thing, because Heather was, looking for her, obviously, and then you had what's his name, Jeff, obviously trying to monopolize off of her in the second one, and everybody else involved. Obviously, you had Erica, who was the Wicca, whatever, witch. You had the couple, obviously writing the book, and then you had the goth chick who was just there. Obviously, and then in the third movie you have James looking for his sister, but obviously that's enthralled in the lore already because she went missing. And then in the video games, you have Holiday, who's looking for obviously through the murders, but is aware of it because she's in that organization that looks into or not extraterrestrial, but paranormal. And then the second one is looking for Robin Weaver. I'm obviously sure that will have something to do. Well, because I'm sure the legend would have been more realistic, or been more front forward in that time frame. And then the third video game, I believe you're hunting Ellie Kedward, so that makes sense on why you'd get stuck into the witch's realm. So you usually have an established reason on why you're getting stuck. And those video games aren't canon. It's just I feel like more established in the lore coming off this point. Because it seems like before you always had a reason of getting stuck in it. This just kind of seems like you literally stumble into it for no reason, which is not necessarily something you usually see. Anyways, let's just keep watching. So here's a nicer image, I guess, of the stick kind of figure. This time it's kind of glowing embery, but I guess that's because it's kind of phase shifting now. Not sure exactly what's going on here. Let's just keep going. So here's another close-up of the monster. This time it actually kind of looks a lot similar to the little action figure that came out. So that's just kind of interesting, I guess. Let's just keep rolling. So here's another enemy, I guess, a monster. This looks obviously like a different thing. This looks far more human. This looks more like a more recent kind of conversion thing. Um, this might play into the thing we saw in the third movie, where Ashley had that root that was coming out of her after she cut herself in the in the river. Uh, so maybe you kind of get converted. You can get converted into these forest monsters. I think that's what they were kind of implying in Blair Witch, the movie. So let's just keep going. So here's another character. This person seems more of a friendly situation, but not, I don't know necessarily. Some sort of ritual is going on. Uh, Not really up to date on my magical practices or anything, so I don't know what's going on, but whatever. Let's just keep going. Alright, so here the guy, it's a repeat of pretty much the same thing, but he goes into the house. This time it seemingly turns into the Parr residence, with a person standing in the corner, on the ground floor, which is inconsistent with both the first and third movie, with both of their plot things, but whatever. Anyways, let's just keep rolling.
Who are... Okay, Bullet. Let's find this kid.
So that's the trailer. It ends with you, well, the person turning around and going after you, and then you lose the camera or whatnot, which is, I don't know what to go with that, because usually the person in the corner isn't the bad person. I mean, unless you want to go to the side conspiracy of whether or not Kyle Brody was the whole mastermind behind the murders for the Rustin Parr thing. Um, anyways, game comes out August 30th, and I will certainly be playing it, and probably be thoroughly disappointed. Anyways, that's the trailer. Let's hop into the last topic. Alright, so the last topic I want to talk about is the final week of the Indoor Football League regular season, with just some interesting matchups you might want to watch. Arizona Rattlers are going for an undefeated season, which they should almost certainly get because they're going up against the San Diego Strike Force, which have one win, which is against a team that also only has one win, which is whose only win is against a team that has two wins. Anyways, so you'll probably want to watch, at least keep an eye on that game to see Arizona have an undefeated season. Then you also have the Nebraska Danger playing the Iowa Barnstormers for essentially their playoff lives, because they need to, if they win this game, they're in, because they hold the tiebreaker over Tucson. Well, pretty much there are three teams tied at 6 and 7. Only two of them are going to get in. Nebraska has the tiebreaker over Tucson, and the two other teams are facing each other. So if they get this, they'll get to 7 and 7, and only one of the two teams that are at 6 and 7 can get to 7 and 7. So if they can beat Iowa, they get in. Iowa already locked up their first round bye and the second overall seed. So they don't necessarily have anything to play for, so look for Nebraska to put in a good game there. The last game you want to watch is the Quad City Steamwheelers at the Tucson Sugar Skulls, which is the battle of 6 and 7 teams for the playoffs. Quad Cities owns the tiebreaker, I believe, over both of the teams, but it doesn't matter for their tiebreaker with Tucson since they're playing each other. They own the tiebreaker over Nebraska. So if they lose and Nebraska loses, I believe Quad City should get in. But if they win, they're in no matter what. If Tucson wins, they'll be in no matter what. So just 3 games to keep an eye on if you're interested in football at all and are kind of craving it. If you're not watching, the CFL stuff, you have this to watch. And the Indoor Football League is always good because the games are nice and quick, and they're high scoring and fun to watch. Anyways, yeah. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I'm sorry about the pauses and the stutters, but this is just kind of free flowing. I'm not really going to do much editing because I want to get this video out. I'm recording it the day it goes up, and I just got home from an overnight shift and have not went to bed yet. So, yeah. So anyways, if you liked the video. If you didn't, feel free to dislike. If you have any comments about any of the topics I talked about, please let me know in the comments. And if you have not subscribed and are interested in anything I was talking about, specifically if you're interested in college football, please subscribe, because you'll be getting lots of good football content this week and in the future. Thank you again for watching.